Hey everyone, welcome to your C# tutorial on static methods. So as you can see, we have Visual Studio pulled up here and our boilerplate code ready to go. What I'd like to do is to talk about static methods, we need to kind of get into a little bit deeper the relationship between classes and objects. And I know we've talked about this a lot, but just to recap, classes to objects is a one-to-many relationship. So you'd have one class, and from that class blueprint, you can create many objects. So you can see we have our person class down here, and when we create a new person object called person1, we can assign it to a new instance of person, right? And then we go through, and in person1, we can access our member variables. In our person class here, we've defined our first name and middle name as regular variables, but then our last name as a static variable. And just like in our previous tutorial, in our lineup of members here, member variables and member methods, we can access first name and middle name, but there's no last name because last name exists on the class level. So if we access the class directly, we now see last name here because it's static. And so that's kind of a recap on our relationship between classes and objects so far. So let's go into our class here and let's create a greeting method. So we'll make this a public method, and we're not going to make it static. We'll just make it a regular void method and we'll call it greeting. We've done this before. Inside of our greeting method, though, we can use the this keyword, and this refers to the current instance of the object, and we can access our first name, and we can print this out or whatever we want to do. We can also access our first name, but we can also access our middle name. Now, something we can't do, though, is we can't access our last name. And so our last name can't be accessed because it's a static, right? It exists on the level of the class. And so as you can see, as you might remember from just a couple seconds ago, this keyword refers to the current instance of the object. This keyword refers to current instance of the object. And so these member variables exist at the instance level of the object. This static variable, the static member variable, exists at the class level, right? So inside of our regular method, we can access this, but this refers to the instance. And in the instance of the object, we don't have any static variables. We only have that at the class level. So static methods work in a similar way. So I'm going to create a quick definition here for static method. So a static method is a method or a function that exists at the class level or type level. So if we go and we create get rid of this, we create a static method here. Now we can easily access last name. You see it gets autofilled. However, we can't access first name. You see it's not in our list of possible options because we are in the static context. We're at the level of the class. And so these member variables only exist at the level of the object. So it's the exact switch. It's the inverse of the previous situation. So we also can't access this at all. So if we do this dot first name, it's not going to work because this refers to the instance, and a static method is at the level of the class. So let's just do a console.writeLine. Right line. and we will say hello from the class level. And so we have a static method here in our person class. So let's check the instance of our object. So in our person1 instance, if we go to our possible methods, we do not see our greeting method because, again, we are at the instance level. However, if we go to the class level, we can see our greeting method, and we can call it. And so if we run this code, we should see hello from the class level. Awesome. So I'm going to terminate this. So you can see it can be kind of useful to have a method at the class level. However, I probably would not use a lot of these because generally you want to work at the instance level because it gives you more flexibility. But it's a good thing to know because there are certain situations where you're going to want to use a class level method or a static method. So this has been just a sort of a quick overview, the basics of static methods in C#. Thanks.